Well, welcome fellow collectors to our segment today on Military Collectors. I want to talk to you about a significant vehicle that I own. I've owned it now for about 4 years. This is an M151A2. This is what they call the Vietnam era Jeep. The significance of this vehicle for me is when I was a brand new second lieutenant in 1978, and when I showed up at my first unit in 1979, this is the vehicle that I was issued, this type. And it was the A2, which then came out, had several upgrades from the previous two models, which is the M151 and then the M151A1 and then the M151A2. Now, what's so significant and special about this vehicle? Well, I tell you what, just to look at it, you say, Bob, it's just another M151. There's hundreds of thousands of them out there. Well, no, not like this one. This is probably the only one like it. This one, as you can see, has all of the original paint, markings, canvas. It has the pedestal mount inside, all of the things, the radios that are mounted in there, the 524, all of that stuff is all original, just like it came when it was in its last military unit. Again, this vehicle has not been restored. It has not been painted. Even the markings on here are still all original paint from the first unit that had it. This Jeep has 936 actual miles. Now you're saying, you probably changed out the speedometer. No, I didn't. And let me show you why. If I raise the hood here, first thing that you're going to want to see is this engine. Okay, again, this is the original engine with 936 actual miles on it. But what I want to point out to you is the significance of this number at the end of my finger. It's called the bud number. It is BUDD number 19. So in 1970, this was the 19th M151A2 off the Ford assembly line. So very significant. And as you can see, this vehicle is just like it was when it was on active duty. And it is one of those things that I really cherish. I utilize it in the parades and those sorts of things. It still even has the original Goodyear NDT tires on it. Even the spare is that same. All of the BII, which is for some nomenclature, all of the vehicle tools are all still in this vehicle and still the same. Now, one of the things I want to point out to you today is how to care and maintain these things, because actually they sit static and display more than you drive them. I try to get them out once or twice a week, at least fired up, even through the winter. I use non-ethanol laced gas in it. That's a very, very key point for all of you collectors out there. Do not put gasoline in there that's got ethanol in it, okay? Because any of the plastic parts that are on these vehicles, that stuff, because of the alcohol content, it's the same as boats. It eats all that plastic away, and then you got a mess. So one of the things that you have as an issue with all these vehicles is the old 2HN batteries, which were the original ones, they tended to leak, okay? They weren't the sealed type that we have today. You had to add electrolyte and you had to add water in them, okay? So what I've tried to do here is I've tried to find a replacement battery for this thing, and kind of in 2021 fashion, because those old 2HN batteries had a tendency to leak. And when they leak the acid, down inside the battery tray, which I'll show you in a minute, they had drains down there, but still, they always ate through the bottom of the battery container just behind the passenger floorboard. And it was always a problem. Still, even with collectors today, there's a lot of folks out there on G503 that have replacement panels for underneath the toolbox, underneath the battery box, as well as the passenger floorboard, because again, the acid eats them away. So what I did was, in order to try and maintain the batteries on this vehicle, was I went and found me a 24-volt battery tender system. Now, all of you all out there probably seen these. There's tons of these. There's some made by Schumacher. I've just found that this battery tender tends to be the best. And again, this is for a 24-volt system, because this Jeep is still original, still has the 24-volt system on it, and I will not change that. It has two 12-volt batteries on board in order to power it up. Okay, with that, I also then, because I wanted to be able to, the convenience of plugging this thing up, I wanted to be able to, if I can get in this blasted box, I wanted to be able to do this at the convenience. I wanted to be able to put a plug in, so all I could do is mount this somewhere in one of the, either the covers or whatever the case may be, and I'll show you how I did it, is then you just simply mount this in there. It stays in. You plug the other end of the battery tender into this, but then what you do is you just use a drop cord, and you plug your drop cord in every time you're not using it, so it sits there. Again, be more than happy to share any of those other details with you, but I thought that many of you all would like to be able to do that and make sure that you got a battery tender on board. All my military vehicles have battery tenders. It's just smart business. It's a trickle, it's a maintenance system, plus they also are a charging. So if you use it and you use a little bit of the power, it'll get it back up to speed. So let me show you a little bit here. Come around this way and let's take a look at these 2HN batteries. These are the two originals that were in this vehicle. And as you can see, these are the military versions of them. These are brand new, but I tell you, I don't care how much you try to prevent it, they still just leak, okay? They just leak, and they run down the side and all that sort of thing. So with all of that, what I did, and let's move over here, I think you'll be able to see, and I'll kneel down. I went to my local Napa store and I said, hey guys, I need two 12-volt Optima batteries. Why Optima? Well, they're just a good, reputable source for a battery that's sealed. A lot of other battery makers out there, but Optima, to me, has the best performance. I've got it in my boat, and I've got it in all my other military vehicles, is these Optimas. This is the R51. It's about 3/8 inches short. And so what I had to do in order to get them in here, because these are all mounted solid, is I had to take a couple of the battery hold downs, the original ones, and you can see them here. I cut them, and then I drilled a hole, and then I just put them back together. And of course, these batteries are not going to come out of there. And so, again, these dual batteries, and they're all, and I just put them right back the way they were. And then what I did was with this, with the battery tender, as you can see in the battery cover, is I mounted it in the top of the battery cover, just like that. And then, of course, this thing goes just like this. Right down, you put it in place and snap it, and then, of course, right back here is, again, you cover it up when you want to drive it. I mounted the battery tender system, as you can see. It's right back here. As a matter of fact, I don't know whether the light is big enough or not, but I put it right on the back side of the battery box, so it would be right there. And so with that, that is a serious upgrade to the battery system on an M151A2, that if anybody has one, or you have a military collected vehicle like these, you'd be smart to do the same thing. Get a sealed. It doesn't have to be Optima. Yeah, they're a little pricey, but that's okay. I spent the extra bucks because I just wanted to make sure that those batteries are not going to leak. There's not going to be acid fall in the bottom, and then they're going to eat out and eat away the bottom of my battery box and then ruin what is considered to be probably a museum collectible piece right here in this M151A2. So remember, again, for all the purists out there, I've saved these military batteries, and I also have another set of the battery holes down that go on these batteries, just like this, okay? Again, you're probably saying, well, Redfern, that's a little bit expensive and frivolous. Well, no, it ain't. These are still readily available out there. It just makes sense that if I ever want to get rid of this vehicle and somebody wants the original batteries and they want the original tie downs, here they are, and they can be good to go, and there can be no complaints. Well, stay tuned for more military collector segments, because I'm telling you, down the road, I'm going to have more great tips and other things that I've been doing to my military vehicle collection.